So, hello, welcome to this perfect demonstration on how to do a re-root treatment on this fantastic section, the molar. And of course, this is a unique I love the pulp way of demonstrating quite a difficult procedure to carry out, especially as a general dentist. And this case is going to use everything. It's going to be using normal files, K files, H files, hard files, soft files, thin files, small files, big files, wavy files. We're also going to use a little bit of solvent in there. And I think what the best thing to do is just get straight into the case here. We can see we've got this fantastic section tooth, and we've got a tooth that's been obturated with a bioceramic and a GP cone. And the very first thing that I like to do is here, as you can see, I'm using a size 25 headstrong file just to try and screw in and try and undermine some of the GP, or trying to get as much of the GP gripped onto the spirals of this H file as much as possible. I'm struggling ever so slightly. I'm trying to struggle to kind of get an in here, but as I have a little feel around the edges of the GP cone, I managed to screw this headstrong file in, and the technique here is this kind of screw and pull technique. So you're going to be screwing the GP, the headstrong file into the GP cone, and you're going to pull it out, and you're going to hope that the GP gets caught on the spirals of this headstrong file. And what you do notice here is I struggle slightly to get in, but I get another in, and essentially what I'm doing is I'm screwing it in, pulling it out, and if I'm not pulling out the whole GP cone, I'm trying to screw it in a different part of the canal wall. And essentially what that does is it either makes you pull the whole GP cone out, or what it does is it lifts the GP away from the canal walls. And essentially that's what happens, is the GP cone is kind of bonded, pushed hard against the walls of the canal here. What we notice is that the headstrong file isn't working, so we're going to use something a bit stiffer. I'm using a probe here. We can see here that I'm just using the probe just to lift the GP away from the canal walls. A lot of the times what you might notice is when you're trying to remove GP is that the GP's been cut off quite far up the canal orifice, and sometimes when you use a probe just to try and remove some of this GP going, it's going to remove it from maybe some of the undercuts that we've seen with the sort of anatomical anomalies of these canal walls. But as you can see here again, we're going to use these headstrong files, and this is screwing in now quite significantly because we use the probe to kind of push it away from the canal. And we are going a little bit further. Sometimes when you screw these cones in, it's hard to pull them out. You might unscrew it a little bit, and we're really struggling just to remove the GP cone in one. So at this point, with this type of root treatment case, I'm thinking to myself, I'm probably going to be removing these GP cones in little pieces. And we screw in the headstrong file here, we give it a push, and we pull out about the coronal third of the GP. So not ideal, but it's better than nothing. And I can see this axially, so I can see there's a little bit of GP stuck in the kind of mesial aspect of this tooth. So I'm just trying to sort of use a slow, very methodical way of removing the GP, and that is to just trying to lift it ever so slightly away from the canal walls, and then I am going to try and get my headstrong in there to try and get it engaged into the flute of the file, and then as we pull it out, it's going to hopefully pull out some of the GP. What you'll notice though here is that I am not using any irrigant, but I think at this point it's best to use some irrigant. So we're going to fill up the whole cavity space with sodium hypochlorite, and this actually can lubricate the canals, and it can also clean the canals as well, in the way that obviously it gets rid of bacteria, but when you're doing a re-root treatment, it generates a lot of mess. So this kind of cleans out the GP and all the nastiness there. And also what I like to do is like to activate quite early. So we're doing ultrasonic activation of the irrigants, and what this does, again, it kind of dislodges all the nastiness, and it gives you a bit of a clean working feel to have a see where your GP cone is, what you might need to be sort of picking away. And I think if this was a real tooth at this point, I'm using a probe here, and I can sort of feel that this looks like a whole GP cone. And this is one of the frustrating but challenging parts of doing a root canal, is I'm using this kind of Yoshi GP remover tool. It's like a long DG endodontic probe with a little hook on the end, and I am just ever so slightly moving the GP in the mid-third. We can see here that it's just the mid-third that's moving, but in clinically you'd think this was the whole GP cone. And again, it's just this very, very sort of methodical way of removing little tiny pieces bit by bit, and hopefully as you do that, maybe the whole thing comes out. Another little trick you can use when you're doing a re-root treatment is use these ultrasonic tips. Very, very low ultrasonic energy, and you use it dry within the canal. And a lot of times what you'll notice is you touch the activation tip onto the GP, and then it travels up the ultrasonic tip. So another classic tip there. But I can still see a little bit of remaining GP on this mesial wall here. So I'm just going to use another probe to try and dislodge it. And then again, like I said, using a H file to sort of push between the wall and the GP to try and engage the flutes into the GP cone, and then try and push it out. And we're getting a little bit of traction here. I think the one thing you need to be mindful of is this is a really, really frustrating and difficult treatment to carry out, and try not to lose heart with a re-root treatment. Just know the basics, make sure that you're always noticing that the GP cone is moving, and just take your time with it. And I guarantee, if you take your time, use your patience, eventually you'll remove most of the GP. And we can see now when we activate this GP cone with the ultrasonic, it's kind of moving ever so slightly. So it's just using a little bit of hedge-tron files, using the probe, using a bit of irrigant, using a bit of ultrasonic, and we're kind of dislodging this GP. I mean, this is a well-compacted GP cone within the canal space. I obturated this tooth, by the way, and with a bioceramic as well. That adds to the difficulty because the bioceramic obviously bonds directly, but we can see here that we've removed a nice big piece of GP there. And then what I do notice is this is quite a straight canal, so when I'm using my high magnification, I'll be able to still see that kind of glint of orange within the apical third. I'm trying to remove the last piece of this GP cone with our hedge-tron file, but I'm getting no look at all. Again, I'm trying to directly activate this GP with my ultrasonic activator, and again, this sort of remaining GP is still remaining at the apical third, which is very, very frustrating. The next file I'm going to use here, this is an XP-endo Shaper, and essentially this is a rotary file which is wavy shaped, and what this does is it actively scrapes the sides of the wall. The problem with this file, of course, is that the waviness really only happens in the mid to coronal third, and in the apical third it hasn't got that kind of activation. So in this case, we're trying to remove the apical third GP, but because the waviness isn't so pronounced in the sort of tip of this file, it's not really working very well. And then sometimes only using high magnification, the best thing for you to do is to just directly try and dislodge it with a DG endodontic probe. And what you might notice is you might only remove a few fragments here and there, but if you just only remove a couple of little fragments, you just want to irrigate them out. And again, what I do notice is no canal is obviously round. It's a lot of the times quite oval, and I noticed there's a little tiny bit of GP in the sort of mid third of this canal. I'm just going to kind of dislodge that, use the XP-endo Shaper, and then trying to dislodge it again with this directly with this Yoshi GP remover. And if you're struggling to get that last remaining GP at the end, but there's a little bit of GP remaining in the mid third, you can see here it's dislodging quite nicely. A lot of the times what you'll notice is that you'll remove that GP further up the canal, and this was the thing that was getting the further apical GP stuck. So very, very satisfying feeling removing a large piece of GP like that. And then when we assess the tooth, we've got a tiny, tiny little bit of GP remaining. I'm going to try and activate this GP out, trying to irrigate it out. There's still a tiny little bit left. Another little trick that I like to use is I use a headstrong file. So this is a file which has got like a quite deep spiral in it, and I make a very, very tight bend at the end. The headstrong files are really, really stiff, and what I try and do is I try and scrape the sort of bend with the headstrong file to try and dislodge some of the GP. In this case, it isn't working very well. So, you know, back in with the XP-endo Shaper, I'm getting a little bit desperate now, and I think to myself, we're probably going to have to use some dissolver or some GP solvent. You know, we look at with a DG endodontic probe here and trying to sort of directly remove the GP, but it just isn't working because the DG endodontic probe is only so long. I am going to get a thicker headstrong file here. This is a size 35. This is up from a 25. This is getting a bit more stiff. But again, we're not getting that last little tiny bit of apical GP out. I don't like to use solvents, mainly because what can happen is it does dissolve the GP, but then it gets sort of smeared up the walls of the canal, and then obviously you have a problem with blocking the tubules, which has a problem with then irrigating the tooth. But, you know, I use this orange solvent here. But what I do notice is that I haven't dried the canal completely first. And you can see kind of a mismatch of colour here where the liquid has remained at the apical third. And obviously, if the liquid remains there, the solvent isn't working very well. So what I do is I just aspirate the solvent and the remaining irrigant. I use my paper points just to dry the canal completely. And then I directly inject my orange solvent here. And you can see now there's not so much a mismatch in colour, meaning that the orange solvent, the GP solvent, has reached to the apical third. And that's where the GP is essentially. And then using the GP solvent, I'm just going to use my my Yoshi GP remover just to try and dislodge some of the GP again. Again, you can see I'm taking very, very small steps to remove it. Then we're going to use that the bend in there headstrong file trick again to try and dislodge things. At this moment now, the orange solvent is really working its magic. And then finally, we can use a bit of activation just to activate. Dislodge, activate, dislodge, activate, dislodge, and essentially, eventually, what happens is that we manage to just very, very slowly sort of dissolve this GP. You can see here with this XP-endo Shaper, it's just doing the final clean, and then as we aspirate the solvent, we can see that all of the GP is gone. So it's at this point we're going to re-irrigate with sodium hypochlorite. We're then going to dry the tooth with our paper points. We're going to make sure we get rid of all of that orange solvent as much as possible, and then we're going to dress with non-setting calcium hydroxide. You know, there's a massive debate about should we do 1 visit or 2 visit root canal. I think in this case, you know, the root canal looks like it's been done to a good standard. It's obviously an extracted tooth, and also I want a little bit of learning experience here, so I'm decided to dress the tooth and make sure we get all that sort of antimicrobial effect with our non-setting calcium hydroxide. We're now to the second appointment. I'm just going to remove this GIC filling here. This is a resin modified GIC. And then we are going to remove the temporary dressing with inside, which is PTFE tape. And then I'm going to remove our non-setting calcium hydroxide. If you didn't know, a really good way of removing non-setting calcium hydroxide is using the 17% EDTA. And then we're going to irrigate this tooth. Of course, my irrigation protocol is sodium hypochlorite activated, 17% EDTA activated, and then a final rinse of sodium hypochlorite activated. This step would take a bit longer, but I just want to get on with the video. And then obviously we're going to dry with our paper points. And we can see that when we look at this canal, all the GP's gone. It all looks really nice and clean. We're ready for our cone fit radiograph. I'm just going to push our cone at the working length, feel for that kind of tug back. We take our x-ray, we check that the cone's within the radiographic apex. And once we check that the cone is at that correct level, we're going to take it out and we're going to place it in our GP disinfector. We're then going to fill the canal space up with our bioceramic. In this case, I'm using one fill with these visco tips. And I would only suggest directly injecting bioceramic into the canal space if you're using high magnification, like a dental operating microscope. And then we obviously just fit the cone to length. We remove the excess, make sure you really compact that GP down, and of course the bioceramic is easily washed out with water, and all you need to do now is just remove all of the excess. Sometimes if you remove some of the excess, it leaves a little bit of residue of liquid, and you might need to use a kind of paper point just to dry some canal orifices or some canal some cavities. And then in the same vein, I'm going to use a self-etching bond here, so I don't have to wick out a lot of some of the etch which might be left behind if I was using a non-self-etching bond. And then finally, we're going to use STR, which is a bulk flow composite. And there you have it. If you have any criticisms, if you have any questions, please comment in the section below. We've got a membership program. The membership program gets you early access to content, and also you've got exclusive content. We've got a fantastic endodontic access video. And overall, I'd like to say thank you and see you in the next video. Bye bye.